Welcome back. This is Iron Revival. This is Coach Roger. I'm Coach Jeremiah. In this video, we want to talk to you about the types of swings and what's powering them, okay? And is it right for your goal? Followed by how to spot one versus the other. All right, let's do it. So there's lots of different swings.
There are?
Porch swings, park swings, sports swings, and hardstyle swings. Where should we start?
Let's restrict the argument, or the conversation rather, to hardstyle. That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. There's still, for some reason, a big debate out there, which really isn't much of a debate. It's more of someone does a kettlebell swing, someone unfamiliar with the person, the context, the goal, the background says, you're doing that wrong, which is absolute nonsense. You can't tell over the internet.
This
Hate to break it to you. It does every now and then. So we've seen a transition. Now, an old swing, way back when, RKC, SFG, you're going to get what a lot of people, myself included, will call either a dipping bird or a drinking bird swing. This is, it's named after an old toy that you can make look like it was automatically drinking. It was a bird, but it's a really, really deep torso bend. It looks kind of like that. Okay, so your back is pretty much parallel to the floor. And that was what, for a long time, everyone said, this is the right way to do a swing. And this goes along with the idea a swing is a hinge. We don't buy a swing as a hinge. But this is where a lot of this debate came from. So in time, what people realized is, wait a second, there's too much emphasis being placed on the glutes and the hamstrings and not enough on the quads. So what has transitioned is now a swing where the torso is a lot closer, and you can still call this a hinge if you want, movement pattern, whatever. I don't care what you call it as long as it works for you. But now we're looking at, as opposed to completely parallel, you're looking at something that's closer to a 45-degree angle. So we've got two different types of swings, and why it's important to differentiate these is these swings are not powered by the same thing. So if we look at our original, let's say, dipping bird swing, we've got this big chunk, this big torso that's coming forward to the feet. The feet, that's where your balance point is. That's where your line of gravity is going to come down. When you have all of this mass of this torso, okay, plus you have this torso going through an arc, going from here to standing in vertical. So you have big mass, okay, especially if it's a muscular person, going through a big arc. What you're going to see as a characteristic of this swing is that the torso does a lot of the work. If you look at momentum, it's mass times velocity. The mass is going to be greater. Unfortunately, though, the velocity is going to be slower. These swings tend to be slower than the other type of swing. So what this swing tends to do is it tends to form a balance around the feet. The bell comes back, you're nice and balanced over your feet, and as the as the hips come forward and the torso swings back, that's going to provide the force for the kettlebell. My understanding, and I apologize if I get this wrong, I'm not a kettlebell sport practitioner, I don't understand it, and I don't want to pretend to until I do, but my understanding is this is a type of swing that they favor, the pendulum swing, because the goal is efficiency. It's a very, very intelligent way to move a kettlebell, using a lot of potential energy, using a lot of, let's say, mechanical advantage, for lack of a better term, something that a lot of people might kind of intuitively understand. So the pendulum swing is really beneficial for kettlebell sport. So that definitely has its place there. But if the purpose, let's say hardstyle, is power, leg strength, then you need to look for something else to power your bell, in our opinion. So if you look at the excursion, let's go ahead and do like a hardstyle swing here, a setup. So one, you have a lot more of the spine behind this line of gravity, okay? So the amount of mass that's in front of this that can actually swing is less, okay? So one, it's not starting from here, it's starting from here, so there's less of an arc it can move through, plus more of the mass is behind that line. So when he stands up, there's not going to be a huge amount of his torso that's available to move him. His torso can't act as a counterbalance to the same degree, so he's got to use his legs. So really, really important distinction. So we want to think to ourselves, okay, what swing is right for our goal. If we're looking at some sort of, let's say we're training for sport and we're learning, we're working towards some of these other skills, makes a lot of sense. If you are working endurance, that might make a lot of sense. If you've got a high endurance protocol and you just want to condition the tissues and keep them moving, the incline of the torso isn't really relevant, you're not really working in a sporting context, that might make a lot of sense. But for hardstyle, those are not usually the reasons for applying hardstyle. So we want to think, okay, conversely, if you don't have the torso and you're using the legs, why might we want to do that? So a lot more power generation from the legs. You have to use the legs more because we're taking away all the mass of that torso. So it's not this pendulum, this counterbalance swing. You've got to generate force through your legs. So leg strength, leg power, and torso angle. So we were chatting a little bit before we started about, let's say, you've got alignment and we're working with football. Let's go and get all the way down. All the way. This is not a very powerful position. People might have to start there, but as soon as they generate power, they pop up to here. Okay, that's where you generate power.
I actually played football.
So you don't see people running like that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So if we're working on someone who wants to get faster off the line, hit harder off the line, then we're going to have that torso angle that matches where the power is going to be generated. And we want to make sure that you're using the legs and you're moving them quickly. Because again, if we're looking at, that momentum equation, if the mass goes up, velocity is going to go down and vice versa. So we're looking to use the legs, we're looking to minimize the torso involvement. And those are two examples where you might want to use one swing versus the other. Now, how do you spot them? Real quick, the kind of pendulum swing, dipping bird swing, whatever you want to call it, you're going to have a torso that's almost completely horizontal, parallel to the ground, almost completely vertical shin. And if you look at how much of the body is shifted behind this line of gravity, not much. Versus what I would call a hardstyle swing, what I think a hardstyle swing should be most of the time. Torso is going to be closer to 45 degrees. You're going to have more knee bend. And then when you get this line of gravity here, you have a lot more of the body behind it. So that's one way you're gonna be able to, or those are the ways you're going to be able to differentiate those. Do want to throw a caveat out there that some people are naturally going to be more squatty, some people are naturally going to be more hingy based on body type. Not a lot you can do about that. So these are going to be degrees, but even somebody who, Jeremiah has a tendency to have a hingier swing, certainly hingier than mine, but he's not all the way parallel to the floor. He still has some measure of incline to his torso, still getting a lot out of his legs.
Yeah, and hey, don't be name calling on the internet and don't say somebody's wrong. We're here to tell you that you may not know the whole story. And if you don't know which swing is right for you, try them both and see.
Sure.
Ultimately, we tend to skew more towards that hard style, athletic, hinge sort of swing or whatever you want to call it. So give that a shot. If you want to leave a comment about which swing you're doing, let us know. Or if you have swing questions, hit us up. And as always, download Bells by Iron Revival. It's free.
It's free.
And it helps you train. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Stay strong.
Thought I was going to do it.